talk about the WNBA and the league's demise now that Caitlin Clark is no longer going to play this season. The WNBA and the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White, Amber Cox, all the way up and including, let's just keep it real, Kathy Engelbert, Adam Silver, the National Basketball Association, everybody that participated in the farce.
This is wild. Caitlin Clark's season is officially over. And honestly, the WNBA has no one to blame but itself. Think about it. A quad strain in May, repeated groin issues through June and July, and then a bone bruise in August. Her body just kept breaking down. And now, her absence for the rest of the season isn't just a personal setback. It's a full-blown league-wide disaster. How did this happen? Simple. Lousy officiating, terrible communication, and constant, blatant physical targeting of one player. Fans are furious. They're demanding answers, calling for refunds, even threatening boycotts. And the league's response? Pretty much crickets. So here's the real question. How did the WNBA let its biggest star fall apart after just 13 games? And what in the world does Commissioner Kathy Engelbert have to say about it?
Caitlin Clark, out for the remainder of the 2025 season, something we all think we knew was coming after what Stephanie White said earlier today. We couldn't be too sure until we see it for ourselves. And with this announcement from the GOAT's mouth herself, Caitlin Clark won't be returning this season, nor if the Indiana Fever make the play.
Think about it. How many times did the refs just stare straight ahead while Clark got shoved on a screen, grabbed by the jersey, or flat out knocked off balance, then acted like it never happened? That's what eats at fans, because everyone saw it happening in real time. Possession after possession, Clark was getting hammered coming off curls, thrown into help defense, even double-teamed before she could touch the ball. And the officials? They had countless chances to blow the whistle. Instead, they swallowed it, and what started as a few missed calls turned into an undeniable pattern. One so blatant that even the Washington Post wrote about it. This wasn't just one team playing her physical. It was the entire league taking liberties with a player who had instantly become the face of the sport.
Well, it all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
And what about the league's most valuable draw? The one player who wasn't just carrying her own franchise but was single-handedly responsible for half of the WNBA's entire rating spike. She was left completely hung out to dry. Think about that for a second. One player was packing arenas in Dallas, Las Vegas, New York, and Chicago. She should have been treated like the league's most prized investment. Instead, while networks were cutting record checks just to broadcast her games, the refs flat out refused to give her even the basic calls that stars get every single night in every other league. What fans ended up seeing was bodies being thrown into her off the ball, hand checks stopping her cuts before they even began, and defensive contact that would have been an automatic foul for literally anyone else.
The WNBA and all the people that follow the WNBA and try to promote the WNBA don't understand that Caitlin Clark's game resonates with us. I say this every day, and every day I got to deal with somebody else dumb in the media. Caitlin Clark's game resonates because she's got flair, she's got flash, she's got style. I said this before, and I'll say this again. We saw Sue Bird's game. We saw Diana Taurasi's game. Kim Mulkey was Sue Bird before Sue Bird became Sue Bird. We've seen it. We haven't seen Caitlin Clark.
It wasn't just frustrating to watch. It was flat out dangerous. Those constant cheap shots don't just leave a player sore. They stack up, grinding on muscles that are already strained. So when Clark's quad tightened up in May, or her groin burned through June, none of that was some random mystery injury. These were the predictable results of repeated hits, twisted pivots from denied space, and unprotected landings. And the worst part? She was never given the chance to heal. Instead, Clark was forced to keep suiting up night after night because the alternative would have meant empty arenas, refunds, and furious fans who had already invested their money and time just to see her play. The league's refusal to protect its biggest star didn't just kill the season, it broke her down piece by piece.
Last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark could be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls.
That's why so many fans are calling it outright hypocrisy. The WNBA was more than happy to plaster Caitlin Clark's face across every headline, bragging about record ticket sales, overflowing merchandise orders, and shiny new sponsorship deals. But when it came to the most basic, most important responsibility, actually protecting the player who made all of that possible, they acted like she was just another rookie trying to earn her stripes. The truth is, she wasn't. Clark wasn't just another player. She was the engine driving the entire league forward. Letting her get battered night after night didn't just affect the box score. It put her health, the season, and frankly the future of the WNBA itself in jeopardy.
The folks that cover the NBA, these people that play in the NBA, these people that cover the NBA, there I said these people, all of you, black, white, green, purple, why don't you understand a very simple thing? Her game is dynamic. Like Diana Taurasi was like a jackass to Caitlin Clark. Why? Her game is what people are drawn to. And then you go to the personality. Her game is different than any WNBA woman ever. And she wins, and she shoots from deep. It's no different than Steph.
It's no different than watching Steph Curry get hacked with no calls. Sometimes you have to see it to believe it. But what happens when your golden goose stops playing? What happens when the league refuses to call fouls, and the end result is your biggest star limping instead of running the floor? Now we know. The negligence from referees didn't just sway one game. It paved the way for Caitlin Clark's season-ending collapse. And the fallout didn't stay on the court. The backlash spread like wildfire. Looking back, you can't help but wonder if Clark's sophomore season was doomed from the very first preseason practice. In May, reports already mentioned her quad tightening up, the kind of warning sign most athletes would rest immediately to prevent further damage. Instead, she was rolled out as the centerpiece of every event, every practice session, every marketing campaign. Less than 2 months later, that minor issue escalated into a full-blown groin injury. By July, it worsened into a tear on the right side. And with that came the announcement nobody wanted to hear. Caitlin Clark was done for the year. Her downfall wasn't about one unlucky moment. It was about a chain of decisions that never truly gave her body, or her career, a fair chance.
I mean, it's a gut punch that basically encompasses an entire season of them. The Fever have lost so many players to injury, but obviously none bigger than Clark. And there was such a wait for this second season after her magnificent rookie season. And then, the anticipation of her possibly coming back, only for that not to happen, takes a lot of air out of the room, obviously takes a lot of energy out of the fans, and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever and the WNBA.
What's especially frustrating is that Caitlin Clark never truly had a stretch of games where she was fully healthy. At least 3 different times during the season, she was listed as day-to-day, and every single time the word precautionary was attached, as if it was supposed to reassure fans. But in the WNBA, precautionary apparently meant something very different. Instead of shutting her down to heal, it meant squeezing in limited treatment windows, taping her up, and sending her right back onto the court that same weekend. Watching it unfold felt like seeing someone try to run on one leg while constantly being told they were fine. It wasn't precaution. It was pure negligence dressed up as reassurance.
Clark, a 2-time All-Star and the 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year, has been sidelined suffering a right groin injury during the Fever's 87-77 win over the Connecticut Sun on July 15th. If you guys remember that game, Caitlin Clark put the team on her back in the winding minutes to give the Indiana Fever that lead. Clark also suffered a bone bruise at a later date during her recovery process.
And that, my friends, is exactly where the mismanagement comes in. Anyone who's followed sports for even a minute knows injuries compound if you don't let them heal properly. Yet Clark was pushed through back-to-back games, faced incredibly heavy defensive attention, and endured relentless road travel. A combination that didn't just risk setbacks, it practically guaranteed them. Her coaches had to see it. Her burst off the dribble was gone, her cuts looked short, and she was clearly grimacing through minutes she never should have been logging. The medical staff's responsibility was to protect her, even if Clark herself insisted on playing. And in that duty, they flat out failed her.
Caitlin has worked so hard throughout this time, doing everything possible to recover and return to the court, but ultimately, time is not on our side, said Indiana Fever COO and GM Amber Cox. While we will continue working with Caitlin and provide her with every resource we have available, there is not enough time left in our season for her to safely return, and her long-term health and well-being remains our top priority. We are looking forward to having her back at full strength to start the 2026 season. Clark appeared in 13 games during the regular season, averaging 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5 rebounds per game, while helping lead the team to the 2025 WNBA Commissioner's Cup title.